guys, I hope you're all doing well. This is my husband,
And Richard, no, this is my beautiful wife,
Jennifer Honor, and together we are the
Honors.
Honors. Alright, so today we have another video for y'all, and as you can tell from the title, it's a pretty interesting one.
Yep.
And you know, I don't know where this conversation is gonna go, but hopefully it goes in the right path.
You say like we want to fight.
Hopefully it goes in the right direction, and you know, just to be able to kind of shed light on some things and just go deeper in some of the things that do go on in marriages. We are about to be married for 10 years in a couple months, and you know, we're just in a place where we have a lot to share and we have a lot to just give to those that are either newly married or those who want to be married. And so this is like part of that series, if you'd call it. So yeah, let's just dive right into it. So, resentment in marriage. That's obviously something that, you know, happens a lot in marriage. You know, a lot of people who've been married for long, especially, can, you know, tell you all about it. And it's not, if you're going through that phase in marriage, you're not alone, okay? That's definitely one lie. You should not believe you're not alone. It's not a you thing. Every marriage goes through it. So let's start off with you. I feel like when it comes to resentment in marriage, or at least in our marriage, it started with you. You were the one who started to be resentful first.
Yo, I might laugh through this whole thing, just FYI. So y'all bear with me.
Don't laugh. It's not funny.
Alright, yeah, go.
Yeah, so I feel like you're the one who kind of started off like with that feeling resentment in the marriage. And so I guess kind of tell them where, or some of the instances that like that came up for you.
I feel like there's been multiple times. I'm not even sure how to, like. Should I get like a scenario, like an actual real scenario?
I mean, yeah. Okay, I think you should give when we had our first baby, because I feel like that's very relatable to a lot of people, especially those who've probably been newly married and are starting to have kids.
Okay, I think that gives me like a better point to start. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I feel like, you know, when you obviously gave birth, right? Your body went through a lot during the 9 months time, right? Now you've given birth, new baby, new everything, right? And I think that as a man, it was tough for me because you have society saying, how is mama doing? How's baby doing? Nobody's really thinking about the guy. Like, how am I doing? You know what I mean? And so you tend to bury the feeling because the man, we also like go through like hard time. We go through things as well. You know what I mean? So you tend to like hide those feelings because nobody's asking you how you're doing. And the fear is if I bring it up, I'm going to be seen as, oh, I'm taking a shine from my wife, for lack of better words. You know what I mean? So you just reel everything in. You know what I mean? In the department of my sexual needs, is that being met? In the department of, I'm a touchy person, right? So I remember there was one time where you were feeding Isabel, right? Let me take it back. Prior to pregnancy, obviously it's just me and Jennifer. So, you know, everything is mine. Her head to toe is mine. And then now you have a baby that you're showing that affection that you're showing me. Like you're pouring that love all to that baby, right? Which is a good thing, just cool, right? But then I felt neglected. It was like, wait a second. Like, I thought you were cuddling me at night. I thought, you know, I would be sucking booze and not my baby girl, you know what I mean? And so, like I said, there was no space to share like how I was feeling. And then it was like, okay, wait, is my feelings valid? Am I right for being feeling these kind of feelings, right? Because like I said, nobody's asking you for nothing, right? Or asking you how you doing. And also you don't hear people saying that, hey, I went through the same thing too. So you're kind of like alone, right? Yeah. So then you end up put everything into your heart, you don't share, and then it's like, yo, I kind of don't like you right now. Like, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So during that time, right, when we first had our baby, when we had our first baby, that's, you know, we're both parents for the first time. It's our first baby, going through all that. And for a lot of us millennials, I'll say for us millennials, we didn't really have a lot of like insight or like nobody really taught us the reality of even like marriage, having babies, how that's gonna shift things. Like nobody really taught us. That's why, if you can tell, a lot of millennials are now sharing because like we had to learn the hard way. So for us, when we first had that baby, you know, I was all about the baby. I was in mom mode. You know, I'm a new mom. I had C-section. The kid was in NICU, so there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
I was also trying to be a good mom. You know, that stigma, like I'm not trying to be a bad mom.
Yeah.
You know, just in mom mode. And the last thing that is on my mind is like, you know, sex, thinking about you and a grown adult. But at the end of the day, one thing that we got to realize is that just as I became a new mom, he also became a new dad. Like your spouse is also becoming a new dad. And so navigating those feelings, navigating those emotions, I feel like there wasn't a lot of space for men to be vulnerable or for men to even say anything.
Yeah.
And like he was saying, like everybody would always ask, and it's still kind of present today. Like when you have a baby, everyone is like, how's mom doing? How's mom doing? How's mom doing? Rarely does anybody say, hey, how's dad doing? Dad, how are you feeling? How are you feeling about the fact that, you know, your wife is on mom mode and she probably can't give you any attention right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, like, men are not saying, hey, put us at the forefront or, like, make us the star of the show.
Yeah.
But I think it's more so like, yes, my wife really does deserve all the attention because her body is tore up right now. But at the end of the day, there should still be that, like, hey, like, how is the husband doing? And if nobody is doing that for the man, at least the wife should be able to be like, hey babe, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
Yeah.
I know I can't, you know, be intimate with you at this moment, but like, you know that I'm thinking about you, know that I love you. Like, how are you feeling?
I think that's one thing I had to communicate to you, right? It was like, if you can't...
Not to cut you off, bear in mind, he didn't tell me any of this until literally our third baby.
Yeah.
I didn't know all this until like literally our third baby when he let me into this insight.
Yeah.
And like, oh.
Because like I said,
no
like
idea.
nobody, like, it's like, how dare you like speak up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not given the space to speak up. You know what I mean? And I think I had to let you know that, hey babe, even if you can't provide X, Y, and Z, the fact that you come to me and say, hey babe, I'm thinking about you, or I know that XYZ hasn't happened for a long time, but I'm thinking about you. That meant the world to me, yo.
Yeah.
Like it meant like, okay, my wife she hasn't forgotten about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so whenever like these type of feelings, resentment built up because of lack of communication. And sometimes so there probably is that communication, but like there's no action towards it. And so I feel like that even makes things worse. And I think in that area, that was like when it came to like a lot of like sex, when it came to sex, that was, you know, one of the main issues for you. It's like, even though you've expressed your frustrations to me, and this is not even, you know, being a new mom, like even in the marriage, when it comes to like sex life, you know how it goes with men, like we're always tired and we're always we always have excuses. So like he really had to get to the point of like expressing to me like, hey babe, like you're always tired and that's not fair. I
remember I came home to her one time and I was like, hey babe, I need sex X amount of times in a week. I need this and this and this. And I was like, and I think the reason why I clicked for you was because I was like, hey, you state what you need. You need date night, you need this, so like, why can't I state like what I need? You know what I mean? And if we both love each other, why shouldn't I want to please my wife in X, Y, and Z, right? And vice versa. You know what I mean? Why should the man's needs be like, oh, on the back burner?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think it clicks. So I've come to realize that there are certain things in marriage, honestly, it would take a revelation for you to just get it, right? No matter how someone will tell you over and over, no matter how much someone will express their needs to you over and over, it has to take a revelation for you to really just catch it.
Yeah.
And for me, when it came to sex and like, you know, yeah, I was always tired, and yeah, like I wasn't in the mood.
Were you always tired?
Or,
like, were you actually always tired?
I mean, a lot of times, yeah, and I just really wasn't interested. I was just like, bruh, I don't feel like it right now. Like, I'm not in the mood, you know? Like, I feel like, obviously, men compared to women, like, y'all's libido is always high. For women, it's pretty low, and then, well, not pretty low, but, like, in comparison
in general,
to you guys.
yeah.
And then, like, when you add on top of, like, being a
Baby,
working mom, children, like, all that stuff, like, that's not what we are really thinking about, you know? And so for me, I think it clicked that I can't just keep saying that I'm not in the mood, and I can't just keep saying that I'm tired, because you have to let me know that, hey babe, every time that I, you know, would drive 30 minutes to go get your Starbucks coffee for you, I I wasn't always
Yeah.
excited to do it. I wasn't always in the mood, but I did it because I love you, and I did it because I know that you would appreciate it. Every time that I had to, I don't know, like plan date nights, because I know you love date nights. I know you love going to the restaurant. Every time I have to call the restaurant and have them put like a rose and a surprise, you think I always want to do it every single time I'm in the mood? No.
Yeah.
But I think of you, my wife, and I do it. When he said that, I was like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. And you know what's even crazier? The fact that I didn't even know that he didn't want to do, like, sometimes he was not in the mood to do it.
That's what I told you.
And I think that's why it clicked for me, like, dang.
I remember, and I was like, I think we had a conversation, and I was like, do you think that I enjoy going out to go eat all the time? And you're like, well, yeah. And I was like, well, that's the point. I make it a point, like, I can be sitting there, I'm like, I don't want to be here. But you would never know. You would, did you ever know? Like, you would never, I'm engaged in conversation, like, like, you would never know. And so I was like, and then I was like, okay, how would you feel if I gave you what you wanted, aka going to a restaurant, right? And I got there, I'm just slouching, I don't feel like being there. Like, you wouldn't want that, right? So I guess you were talking about intimacy, right?
Yeah,
and in the same vein, I don't want you just laying there, just like.
It's like, okay, fine.
Yeah, like, sometimes you have to fake it until you make it. Because, like, there'll be some times where I don't want to go. I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to go out tonight. But then seeing you happy is like, wow, my wife was happy. All right, bet. Like, we up.
Well, I wouldn't even say fake it till you make it, because it's like, like I said, when I caught that revelation, and when you said that, like, it just really flipped the switch for me. Like, dang, like, I don't, like, love is not always about being in the mood for something. It's like always putting your spouse before you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, like, it got to a point where, you know, it's like, if you want to have sex and I'm not interested, I'm like, okay, give me 5 minutes. And, like, I prepare myself.
5 minutes, yeah.
I prepare myself, you know. That was like, you know, like 2-3 years ago.
But
now.
Yeah, now. Bust it wide open.
Again, like I said, like, obviously we're gonna be married for 10 years now, and so, like, in the span of 10 years, where that sex life used to be versus where it's at currently, look, miracles exist. Okay, so miracle is real.
So, like, taking it back to, like, resentment, right? Like, can you see how I would or anybody would? I'm saying how I would resent you, like, when I ask for something, and I can feel that some of y'all women, I love y'all, are like, oh, sex is not just sex. It can be anything, yo, right? You can see how I will build up resentment towards you when I ask for X, Y, and Z, and you're like, oh, no, right? But then I am trying my best to make you happy, right? I'm playing date nights, even though I don't want to, right? Like, at the point, I was like, yo, you just selfish. Like, I actually thought, like, yo, like, you're just selfish. Like, it's like, am I not tired too? Yeah. But I'm doing it, right? So, over time, it builds up like, yo, I don't like you right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. That combined with people not asking you, hey, how are you doing mentally as a man? How are you X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, right? So it all ends up to like, bro, like, I'm trying to run away. Like,
not run away, like you're
not obviously, yeah, but it's like, it gets to be like, I don't want to be in this space here, right? And I feel like as a wife, as a couple, as a wife, like, I feel like every wife should strive to build a home where the husband wants to be, right? And so if all these things are not happening, it's like, well, I don't want to be around home, which is you. I don't want to be around you. You know what I mean?
That makes a lot of sense. So yeah, and I feel like, so low-key, that's what people that's kind of feeding into that whole, like, happy wife, happy life thing.
Bruh.
It's like, okay, calm down. Calm down.
No.
Calm down.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Hold on. Do y'all know that a lot of things I was doing for you, right? I don't know if I believe in the idea.
I think in the beginning of marriage, at some point we all kind of brought into that.
Yeah, in the beginning of marriage, yes. Yeah. Right? But yo, the idea of happy wife, happy life, yo, it will ruin your marriage. Yeah. Like hands down. Like, if it's happy husband, happy life, that also ruin your marriage. Like, it has to be you both being happy. You know what I mean? There were so many times, and I'm like so passionate about this because I've been through happy life, happy wife. You know
happy wife.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? I've been through that, yo, and like, that's not obtainable. You can never achieve that because I can't make you happy. If you are unhappy within yourself, there's nothing I can do I can't buy your car. I mean, that's temporary, right? But I can't. There's nothing I can do to like bring you up. You know what I mean? And I feel like the idea of happy wife, happy life, it also it puts the responsibility all on the men.
Yeah, yeah.
And then takes accountability from it. It keeps the woman from taking accountability. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Because it puts all the effort on the man's side, and it's like you, the woman, you're not really doing anything.
Yeah.
Like,
So if I'm,
he's
if
just
I'm
making,
learning,
trying to make you happy, right? And I guess even the happy is not technically not like happy, the feeling happy, but like
doing
like
stuff,
just
yeah,
keeping the peace in the home, basically.
Sure.
Which again, like happy wife, happy life is not the way to go. Obviously, like what about the man's happiness too? And honestly, if you're living a happy wife, happy life type of thing, then you're not even training your wife, for lack of better words. Like you're not helping your wife to become a better person. Because if you're just going to keep saying yes to your wife just so you can keep the peace, then how is she becoming a better person? How are you guys rubbing off on the things that you don't agree on? Like how are you sharpening her? How are you making her better? How are you helping her to reconcile with the things that she needs to do better in life with,
Yeah.
So it's like you can't
become
just
a yes man.
you can't just keep coddling, your spouse.
Yeah.
And that's also a disservice, honestly, to the woman, because you're not helping her grow. God has given you her to help her grow, to help her to become a better person. I mean, and vice versa. But in this case, if you're just like happy wife, happy life, then you're doing her a disservice and you're doing yourself a disservice too. So
I spoke to one of my guys and we're talking about just marriage, right? And he was like, "Yo, there are some arguments that has to be had."
Yeah.
Like, because initially I was like, "All right, you know what? I know Jennifer's in the wrong for this, but I'm not trying to bring this thing up because it's about to blow up. Like, you're not gonna take accountability. You're gonna be mad. It's gonna be bad, right?" And it's like, bro, no. There's some arguments that's like, let her know. So long as you know that you're in the right, and this is not a me versus her thing. You know what I mean? So long as I know that, like, so long as I know that, like, this is worth arguing about. It's a teachable moment. I would rather tell you and you blow up on me, or it, clash, whatever, than not to tell you, and then it happens for so long, right? You're not learning, and now I'm becoming resentful, right? So I rather, it's like, yo, bro, like, we called it like holy argument. Like, let her blow up, but you know that you said it in love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's the Holy Spirit's job to work and allow her to be like, hey, babe. Because there's a lot of times where I'm like, hey, babe, you messed up here. And you're like, no. I'm like, okay, I said in love, right? And then later on, you're like, oh, wait a second. Yeah. Like, and I'm like, look at you, Holy Spirit. All right, bet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And in the beginning, it might take longer to get there. But then after you've trained that muscle, like a lot of times now, it literally takes me like 10 minutes. All I need is 10 minutes. And if I'm in the wrong, I'm like, dang, babe, like.
And I feel like I said before, if for the men's perspective, right, if you know that you're going to say this in love and it's going to help you because I love you, have that argument. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a good, like, risk to take. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. Okay, so now that we are done with yours, let's talk about, one area that I was resentful in a marriage. And honestly, I feel like it's really just been one area. And I think that was, like, when it started to bug me at one point that, like, I was making more than you were. And funny enough, like, it has never been something that bothered me until it got to a point where it's like, oh, you think you can be resentful, huh? All right, I got things to be resentful for too, It's like I never cared, it never bothered me, but then at some point it just really started to bother me. I'm like, well, I mean, Cardi B said.
What she said?
Don't get nothing, okay? So why you out here?
Hold on. Did you tell me that one time?
I did not tell you that.
I could have told you that, babe.
I did. First, why would I tell you? I don't really listen to Cardi B. I just heard it from social media.
Really? You sure?
If I did, then it was out of, like, we were probably making jokes or whatever. But either way, like, I got to a point where I was like, first of all, why you think you can be making demands when mine needs also not being met? I was still the breadwinner of the home, and, like, okay, if you're not making the money home, or if you're not bringing the money home, then why should you be having sex? Like, He said, it's not fair. So then I also started to get resentful. Like, okay, you're resentful, then I'm resentful. Like, what do you mean?
You know the funny thing, though? I remember those times. I remember thinking that, though, to myself.
Really?
Yeah. Because anybody who knows me...
You never said it, and I think that was my point.
No.
Like,
so
it felt like you didn't think you had anything
No. Anybody that knows me knows that, like, I take my accountability level. Like I'm like, bro, let me know. I was having this conversation. I think it was yesterday with somebody. I can't remember. And we were like, I told him, I was like, man, like I remember when you're making more than me. I felt weird, like buying things for myself. You know what I mean? It's like, how can I buy something for myself if I'm not the breadwinner of the house? It was weird. You know what I mean? And with the sex department, it was like, nigga, you're not even the breadwinner. Like, how you gonna get some? You know what I mean? But as a man, I still needed some. You know? So it was weird. It was a weird dynamic. It was so weird.
You know, but the crazy thing is that, and this is also like why like marriage is such a fundamental piece of life, like to teach you to become a better person, a selfless person. Because when I started feeling resentful about that, he had stopped being resentful about the things that he was resentful about.
Because mine started like way before you.
And so like we got to a place where it's like we were good, you know, with sex. It wasn't perfect, but it was so much better than it used to be. So like he wasn't resentful anymore. And then all of a sudden, something that never bothered me started to bother me, and I became resentful about that fact. And I'm like, you know, so it's crazy how like marriage works, and it's like we had to work through those things to like really build that selflessness in the marriage. So yeah, in a nutshell, you know, resentment will most likely happen in your marriage if you're newlywed, you haven't hit that phase of life yet, and especially those who are about to enter into parenthood. You've probably had your first child, or you're about to have your first child. Just kind of have this in mind, you know, like everybody's gonna keep asking about you, the mom, and will probably not ask about your husband, which is okay. Like I said, you did a lot of work, your body has changed, all that stuff. So if nobody's even asking about your husband, I think you, the wife, just kind of check in with him here and there and be like, hey, how are you doing, babe? Just checking in with you. I know I can't be, you know, we can't have sex yet, but just know that I miss you. Or if you don't miss them, just still be honest. Hey, like, that's the last thing on my mind. And, you know, let's talk through how I can help you. Just communicate, you know, because then if you don't communicate to, then that keeps on, you know, building the resentment. But yeah, it's not something that, you know, you're going through alone. So if you're in that stage of life, talk it out. Don't let it build for too long, because it's not going to end well. Talk about it. Don't let it grow. Don't let it fester. That's what like ends up in like muddy waters, and you don't want to get there.
Yeah. And I think in a nutshell, like one of our biggest like mottos in our marriage is let's try our best to outdo in each other and show love. You know what I mean? So whatever it is, like I want to, if I'm scratching your back, right, I'm not gonna worry about my back being scratched. I know you're gonna scratch my back. You know what I mean? And so I feel like communication, like whatever that you want your partner to do for you, like communicate that, right? Communication is key, yo. Like I can't stress it enough. Communication is key.
Yeah, you gotta let them know. So, instead of boiling it up or bottling it up and blowing up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all we have for you guys today. Make sure to comment, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we will catch you in our next video.
Oh.